You are listening to the Seven Rivers Student Ministry Podcast, a ministry of Seven Rivers Church in Citrus County, Florida. Here at SRSM, we believe that all students are lovable through a relationship with Jesus. Visit our website at sevenrivers.org/students. Hey guys, this is Mikey Puckett with Seven Rivers Student Ministry. You're listening to episode 9, His Hand Over Me. This story comes to us from Joe Meek, who is a 7th grade student here. When I first met Joe, I remember being enthralled and impressed by his athletic ability. Joe's one of the most athletic people I know, and he loves sports. He loves to talk about sports, and he loves to play them. Joe is an incredible athlete at football, at basketball, at baseball, and I'm sure there's other sports that I'm leaving out that he's also very good at. This past year, Joe experienced a tragic injury to his knee and had to walk through surgery and recovery, and this is a story of his process, of what it was like for him going through a tragic knee injury. So what would you do if you were in his situation? You're an athlete, you're talented, you're gifted, you have a lot of abilities. God has seemed to bless you with these abilities, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's all taken from you in a moment. What would you do? What would you think? What would you experience? And maybe some of you have experienced that. And I hope that when you listen to the story from Joe, that you will hear someone saying in the darkness, "Me too. I've been where you've been. I know how that feels." One of the sweetest things about Joe is watching him grow in his faith. Even through the suffering, even through the surgery, even through the rehab, to see Joe mature in his faith. Even though he would have every reason to be mad and angry at God, to question and to wonder and to doubt, it seems as if his suffering has brought him even closer. My hope is that that is what you experience as you listen to his story and as you go through your own pain and your own suffering in your own life, that you would actually find that your pain and suffering is where you find Jesus, a Savior with holes in his hands and holes in his feet, a Savior who died on the cross for us. Joe, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being so honest, vulnerable, and brave. You are a good man. And I hope to one day be like you. This is Joe's story.
Hi, I'm Joe Meek, a 7th grade student at Seven Rivers Christian School. Today I'm going to tell you about my knee injury. In September, specifically September 12th, our middle school team had a football game in Orlando. We were playing Orlando Christian Academy. I remember the play like it was yesterday. I ran down the sidelines and there was only one man left who could tackle me. I was going to try to make a move on him, but when I planted my foot, a player came up behind me and hit me on my side. My cleat was stuck in the ground and my whole body turned, except for the bottom half of my leg. I felt and heard a loud pop. Dakota Ebert came up to me and helped me up, but when I put weight on my leg, I just couldn't stand. My knee gave out and then I stepped again and I fell. I stayed on the ground for the first 5 seconds while I was down. I didn't feel pain, but right after that it hit me. It was hurting a lot. Let me tell you a little backstory before I hurt my knee. I started playing sports when I was 3, and I played baseball, basketball, and football. I was very athletic, and sports was my passion. I love sports. The night of my injury, I just went straight to bed, and when I got home, and when I woke up, I wanted to feel what it felt like. So I took a step, and it hurt. That day, we went to go see an orthopedic surgeon to try to find out what I did. We went to the back to get x-rays. They said that nothing was wrong with the bone, but that they wanted to get me in an MRI. An MRI is pretty much an x-ray of your ligaments. They said I had either torn something, which would have been really bad, or I just sprained it bad. I was so nervous and I prayed that I just sprained it. We went back to the orthopedic surgeon, and the man who helped him was Dr. Petrella. We knew him because I played sports with his kids. He has always been a very happy guy. But when he came into the room, he didn't have the normal happy face he always had. A matter of fact, he had to step out of the room before he could tell me. He walked in and just said, "You tore it." I was devastated. I had torn my ACL and meniscus. I wouldn't be able to play sports for a year. I also found out that I had to have surgery. The rest of the day I wouldn't talk to anyone, and I was so sad. We went to Orlando to a pediatric orthopedic surgeon named Dr. Sean Keys. I had my surgery on September 27th. When I woke up from my surgery, I saw that I had a large brace on. It went from my ankle almost all the way up to my hip. My knee hurt very bad for the first week. I had surgery on Friday. That Sunday, my parents told me that I should try to go to church. I went to church, and the minute I got there, I felt great. For the past 2 days, I was sick and in pain, but when I went to church, I felt great. I didn't just feel great when I was at church, but all of Sunday I would feel great. Right after I went to church, I would feel great, so I would go as much as I could. Then I started being able to go to youth group, and that was so fun. 2 weeks after surgery, I went to my 2-week checkup, and he told me that I could start bending my knee. I got 2 braces, one for bending and one for straightening. I would have to wake up at 5 in the morning every day to do my straightening brace. I would be tired and I would get mad. I would get mad and I would hate not being able to even walk. I would hate having to sit at home and just play video games and watch TV all day. It would really stink. But the worst of all was watching all my friends play basketball and football and just run around. Another thing my doctor let me do was start physical therapy. My injury made me regret all those times I wouldn't go 100% on my sprints, or I wasn't even trying my hardest at sports. It made me think to myself to not take advantage of being able to play sports. It made me thankful to be able to walk. It made me thankful to be able to run and have the opportunity to play sports. It made me say to myself, don't take advantage of what you have. The first couple months were long and terrible. I would stretch and work on my strength. I would go on the spike thing at physical therapy, and I wouldn't be able to push the pedals for a full turn. I was only able to bend my knee about 30 degrees. One thing that they would always try to make me do is a leg lift. I was not able to lay down on my back and lift my leg in the air while keeping it straight. I would have to do this 10 unit on my quad, and it would burn and feel weird. About 1 month and a half in, I was able to get rid of a very big brace I had to wear. I was so happy, and I just felt like I was a champion. God had answered our prayers. I was starting to walk a lot better, and I could finally start throwing a football or baseball while standing up. 1 month later, I was able to do my first straight leg raise. I didn't have to do the 10s unit anymore. That is when I felt truly amazing. I was just starting to get into the fun part of PT. At first, it was painful and hard and tiring. About 2 weeks after I'd been able to do my leg raise, I was getting ready to start jogging. I was so excited. I started running December 23rd, so he kept saying that was an early Christmas present. I was now able to go to youth group, walk around the house normally, and running with my mom and Buck, my dog. I was able to shoot hoops outside. My injury didn't just affect me, but it also affected my brother, Jackson. Me and him would do everything together. We would play basketball and pretend we were NBA stars, or we would make up our own football routes and we would throw to each other, or my dad would be QB and one would be a defender and one on offense, and we would go against each other. When he found out I could throw the football, he started making up his own routes, and I could finally play with them. And then we were able to start playing horse when I could shoot the basketball. On my 4-month appointment, the doctor said that I was right on track with the normal 12-year-old kid on my progress. Some people might think that is good, but that wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to get back to sports as fast as I could. So from then on, I would go to the gym every morning at 5:30 with my dad, and we would do squats and lunges. We would do a bunch of leg workouts. He has dedicated so much time into me, and it makes me so thankful for him. He has motivated me to be a hard worker like him. Our family, almost every night for probably my whole life, we had said prayers together before we go to sleep. But for the past few months, when I get in bed and I just sit there and talk to God and ask him for forgiveness and thank him for everything that he has done for me and my family. He is so forgiving and he is so loving, and that makes it really easy for me to talk to him. My latest checkup with my doctor was about 2 weeks ago, and he told me that I was ahead of my progress. That made me so thankful, and I just thanked God for everything he has done for me. My family and friends have been there for me this whole time, and they have been helping me through this. God has blessed me, and he has put his hand over me, and I am so thankful for that.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to hear more stories and follow our devotions, you can go to www.sevenrivers.org/by life or by death. You are loved and you matter.